I have been procrastinating for too long now. Well, hello there everyone. I am TomB92 and welcome back to the Autocraft server. As I mentioned, I have been procrastinating. You can probably see some of the leftovers behind me. I've just kind of been flattening this whole area out for absolutely no reason other than I don't really know what to do with myself. I don't know what my building is going to be for my base, so I've just been flattening this area out, just digging it up and replanting it. Look, let me enter FreeCam. It's hollow down here. It is hollow. I've been lighting it up. This is where the farm was last episode, and here's the underneath of the trading hall, and yeah, just lots and lots of dirt and grass being placed. Really being productive and all that jazz. Now, all procrastination aside, I have actually found myself where I want to build my base. This riverside here with some hills and mountains is going to be where I want to get my base. My supposed mega base. It's not going to be a massive build like what you think of a mega base. This is going to be another town, another city that I want to build. Now, I don't know my build style and I don't know how I'm going to piece it together, which is why I thought it'd be quite cool to have two sides of the river. One side could be one build style and the other side of the river could be another build style. Once I figure out what those build styles are, of course. All jokes aside of all this procrastination, I do have a vague idea of what I want to do. I want to try a little bit of steampunk, and for that I'm going to need a lot of resources. So let's hop into a small time lapse of some resource gathering. Ooh, yay, sand. Ooh, red sand. Ooh, terracotta. Ooh, copper. Yay, smelting copper. So we're just rounding up our pieces to put our build together. And I noticed something just at the top of the stairs up there. Let's go check it out. Okay, so we have a sign saying summon rustic by pressing the button. Okay, now if you listen closely, we can probably hear there's some water back there. Trust it to be when I say listen closely, we can't hear the water. I did hear an enderman somewhere though, but no water. So I've seen a few of these scattered around Starter Town, and they are stasis chambers. Last time I was over this side of Starter Town by Rusty's base, there was one over here. So it looks like that's been used. I think it was this one here. Had an ender pearl in there. So given last episode we had some back and forth with Rusty, we should probably do something with that, right? Well, we shouldn't just call him, we should prank him. You let me know in the comments what you think we should do. I have some ideas in mind. We aren't going to get to that this episode though. So I think it's time we hop into our first time lapse at our new base. And ta-da! We are now complete. I've added a few little extra details away from the time lapse. I'm still unsure what to do with this area. I didn't want to put a tree here just to take away from the build itself. So we've added in a couple of custom trees around the edges here, and we've started putting in a little bit of pathway. Obviously it doesn't really have anywhere to go currently other than to the door. And we've put a line of sight coming over this way because I'm sure with the ocean, the seafront over here, we've got plenty of things we can do and build down here. So I've put in a little pathway heading off that way, and the trees help to frame that again. And then just over here, now we haven't done anything with this currently, but in the future, this is going to lead to my automatic storage. I thought, well, given this is our first build of the mega base, the mega town, I guess we'll call it. It just would be easy to put in our shulkers or our items into here, and underneath us, under the ground, and down there, they'll have all of our automatic storage set up. Now heading on inside, we have absolutely nothing. Nothing on this level, because to say this will eventually lead down to our storage room, which for now is just mob proofed with a frog light down here so we don't get any mobs spawning down here. So once we've kind of got the stuff set up, some of the wall might disappear. I really don't know what the shape is going to be. I do have a shulker unloader in mind to kind of lead down to the storage, but we'll see how the interior here shapes up after we've got that in place. Up here, I've tried to put a little bit of an attic together with some fence posts and then some barrels. There's nothing in here currently. All my storage is still over at Starter Town. Heading around the other side again, haven't done much out the front here, because, well, I mean, there's a lot of space over here again we can build with, put up a promenade or something, maybe even a harbour, because that kind of looks like we could put a lighthouse out over there. But heading on inside, we will see absolutely nothing again. I didn't really want to put in an interior because, well, we're not going to use this building for anything other than our storage, so it's just a pretty looking building. We're now over in our shopping district, which I've not been to for a little while, and I've also not checked out my shop over here. So I actually caught in Calvin's episode I may have an anonymous order being left. See, I have 11 pages. I certainly didn't have 11 pages, although someone still really wants me to do a backflip. I'm not sure I have that in me. Down at the end here, make a temple for the clay order. I always knew this mud society was going to cause a problem, but now I have to instigate the problem? Oh dear. I have the perfect spot for it, but I'm going to keep that hidden. We're going to keep that a secret where we are. We're just going to flick the switch and we're going to be here, and we just need to clear out some space. And we're going to just try and figure out what to do. I have no real idea what a clay order temple is meant to look like, so we're just going to have a play around with some ideas and see what we come up with. And we're going to go from kind of an empty stone looking building into this. And I hope my anonymous order person, the person who put in my order anonymously, is happy with what I've done. Yeah, we've got our clay order temple. You know, we're using terracotta, the dripstone, and we have got a bit of mud. And I don't know how I feel about that, but you know, it's there. And just tried to get some contrast, some texture into the walls, playing with a bit of grey. I think it's light grey terracotta there, and some stone, some granite. And then over on this side, we have the drying room, where we are turning the mud into clay. So that will be, you know, the order's, you know, top secret drying room. And when I say it's top secret, it's a special dropping area here, but you know, you don't know where that is. So at the far end of the room, we've got plenty of posters, paintings of this bloke. I'm assuming he is the leader of the clay order temple. That's kind of what I'm going with there. And then we have kind of a ceremony table here. Flick this lever. Nope, did a good job. Try again. Flick the lever. You can hear plenty of actions behind us. And now it's all brighter. You know, I'm sure whoever's leading the clay order temple will, you know, love the ceremony table up here. And obviously, there's no real way to get out. Or is there? And magically, we're now flying through our nether hub, which I'm hoping isn't a spoiler at this point, but by the way, it's starting to look absolutely magnificent. I'm sure being up this close to it probably doesn't do it justice. I'm going to give Lazy a hand in finishing some of this area off, clearing this area out here, because actually this leads to kind of my stuff over in this direction. Speaking of my stuff, I am losing friends. I'm losing villagers very quickly over here. I don't know how it's happening, because I've kind of put in the trapdoors, but as you can see, I've got loads of empty spaces here. This is the second time this guy has been converted to a zombie villager, and I don't really understand how I'm missing 4, unless there's a pillager patrol coming through, because if they're zombified, we're on hard mode, so they should just be turning in to zombie villagers like this guy. But yeah, I'm missing 4, and I think there's some 4 of my good books in here. So I think we've got one last final thing to do this episode, and that is fill up this villager trading hall. So I was going to try and time-lapse all of the villagers going in there, but well, these few at the start are being a real pain and no one wants to be a librarian. This guy just keeps taking all of the workstations, so I think it's going to be best that I just kind of flick the switch again and just kind of get them all in there. But whilst I am recording, I thought it might be useful for me to just kind of show you how to reset this farm or this trading hall, because it's not really something that's covered in any of the tutorials that are around from Megatronic. So these pods here, the system thinks are still occupied, and obviously we know now that they are not. So we have to head up the top here, and we have to deal with the cauldrons here. So based on the rails, you can see the rails are just going to keep going and going and going. It thinks all of these are filled, and that is because they pretty much all are up until hopefully the last two. Yeah, you can see the last two here that we've got the rails heading directly into them. This guy is the last one that's filled. So you can see the cauldron here with the water is given a different signal to these ones over here. So what we need to do is kind of reset that signal for those that are now empty, so actually the system knows to put someone back into that slot. So what we need to do is we need to go from the second one, right? So we will take the water out, take the water out, eventually out and out. That should be the 4 of them. I'm just going to use free cam here and just double check that. So this guy is filled. Yep, so we've got all of those right. Then we take these cauldrons down. We do a really poor job of trying to catch them, so we're just going to have to get back up and struggle at doing that as well. Good professional gaming. So yeah, we'll take the cauldrons down, then we need the cauldrons back, and then we'll just kind of shift and crouch place them against these comparators. And I'm gonna have to jump down again. Oh wow, okay, now that is pro gaming. There we go, managed to get them all filled and the right position. So what should happen now, once I add the water into each of these, you should then find that the rail is flipping. Yep, perfect. So the system now knows this spot is the next one that needs to be filled. And all of this is actually directional. That's something, again, that I've had to find out by kind of trial and error. And it was a real pain at the start. Apparently rails and the whole system works differently if it's north-south or east-west. And it's actually flipped a different direction to how I've built it before. So when I was following my schematic, it was completely wrong because, yeah, it was facing a different direction and the rails worked completely differently. And you may have also noticed this earlier, I have actually built myself a pumpkin farm. I was going to share this for next episode, but given that we now need to fill in all of these spaces, I need the pumpkins and I need to get the emeralds from them. So yeah, let's head back to filling this all in with villagers. I'm hoping maybe by the end of this episode, we'll see how time goes. We are cutting it fine, but hopefully by the end of this episode, we will have all of these filled and maybe even get the zombie in the bottom position as well. After that whole time lapse, I have filled most of this trading hall up. We have, I think, 8 spaces or so left, but time is running short and I am running out of time to get this episode out to you guys. Do you want to know whose fault it is? This guy, my Unbreaking 3 villager. I re-rolled this guy for the whole of that time lapse and probably another couple of hours just to get Unbreaking 3. What an absolute pain that was. It really makes me miss Bedrock's ability to use a sticky piston and move villager workstations to get them re-rolled, because that was incredibly tedious. Now that is going to be it for today's episode. If you've enjoyed everything that we have done, I really hope you will drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel because a lot of effort has gone into this video, and I look forward to seeing you all next time.